The Crow and the Pitcher. Once upon a time, a thirsty crow found a pitcher of water. However, the water level was too low for him to drink. He tried to turn the pitcher over, but it was too heavy. Then, he had an idea. He started to drop small stones into the pitcher, one by one. As he dropped more stones, the water level began to rise, until he was able to drink from the pitcher. The crow had used his intelligence to solve a problem and quench his thirst. The moral of the story is that necessity is the mother of invention. The story teaches us that when faced with a problem or challenge, we should use our creativity and intelligence to find a solution. It also highlights the importance of persistence and determination, as the crow did not give up until he found a way to drink the water. The Wind and the Sun. Once upon a time, the wind and the sun had an argument about who was stronger. They saw a man walking on the road, and decided to settle the argument by seeing who could get the man to remove his coat. The wind went first, blowing as hard as he could. But the man just wrapped his coat tighter around him. Then the sun took his turn, and shone his warm rays down on the man. The man felt the warmth and soon removed his coat. The moral of the story is that kindness is stronger than force. The story teaches us that using force and aggression to get what we want is not always effective, and that being kind and gentle can often be more persuasive. The story also highlights the power of the sun, which is gentle yet strong, and shows us the importance of warmth and positivity in our interactions with others. The Fox and the Stork. Once upon a time, a fox invited a stork to dinner. However, the fox served the meal on a flat plate, which the stork couldn't eat from because of her long beak. The fox enjoyed his meal, but the stork went hungry. The next day, the stork invited the fox to dinner and served soup in a tall, narrow-necked jug. The stork could easily eat the soup, but the fox could not. The fox was embarrassed and hungry. The moral of the story is that we should treat others as we would like to be treated. The story teaches us that if we are unkind or inconsiderate to others, they may treat us the same way in return. It also highlights the importance of empathy, as the stork was able to understand the fox's behavior and respond in a way that made him realize the error of his ways. The Fox and the Grapes. Once upon a time, a fox saw a bunch of grapes hanging from a tree. The grapes looked juicy and delicious, and the fox wanted to eat them. He tried to jump and grab them, but they were too high for him to reach. The fox then walked away, saying, "Those grapes are probably sour anyway." The fox had convinced himself that the grapes were not worth having, simply because he couldn't have them. The moral of the story is that sometimes, when we can't have what we want, we convince ourselves that we didn't want it in the first place. The story teaches us that sour grapes is a metaphor for bitterness and dissatisfaction, and that we should not belittle or dismiss something just because we can't have it. The Milkmaid and Her Pail. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young milkmaid named Patty. Patty was known for her hard work and dedication to her daily task of milking her cow and selling the milk in the neighboring town. One day, as Patty was walking to town with a pail of milk balanced on her head, she began to daydream. She imagined all the things she would do with the money she would earn from selling the milk: buy a beautiful dress, a fancy hat, and even a grand house. Patty's excitement grew as she thought about her bright future. Lost in her dreams, Patty started to talk to herself, gesturing wildly with her arms. She imagined herself being the richest person in the village, admired by everyone. As she was caught up in her fantasies, she accidentally knocked over the pail of milk with her gestures, and all the milk spilled onto the ground. Patty was devastated as she realized what had happened. Her dreams of wealth and success came crashing down with the spilled milk. She had lost the opportunity to sell the milk and earn money. She sat there, feeling disappointed and regretful. Realizing her mistake, Patty learned a valuable lesson. She understood that she had been too focused on her dreams and had let her imagination take over, neglecting the present moment and the task at hand. She realized that she should have been more careful and not let her daydreams distract her from her responsibilities. From that day on, Patty became more mindful and focused on her work. She stopped indulging in excessive daydreaming and became more practical. She continued to milk her cow and sell the milk in town, but she no longer let her fantasies get the best of her. In time, Patty's hard work and dedication paid off. She earned enough money from selling milk to buy a small piece of land and build a modest house. She learned the importance of staying grounded in reality and not letting her dreams overshadow her responsibilities. The moral of the story is clear: Patty or Parrot's daydreaming and excessive confidence led to her downfall. The fable teaches us the importance of being practical and not counting our chickens before they hatch. It cautions against getting carried away by our fantasies and losing sight of the reality at hand. It reminds us to be mindful of our actions and decisions, and not to let our imagination and overconfidence cloud our judgment. The Milkmaid and Her Pale is a timeless tale that continues to be retold in various cultures and languages around the world, serving as a cautionary reminder to be grounded in reality and not to let our dreams distract us from the present moment.